Hi, boys and girls. I'm in a little town called Seligman, Arizona, and we're on Route 66, which is a famous road that runs all the way from Chicago out to Los Angeles, California. Did you know that the movie Cars was made about the actual road called Route 66? And I just found a car here that's painted just like Lightning McQueen. So I thought it would be a great place to read a book about cars. Disney Pixar's Cars. It was the final race of the season, and Lightning McQueen was in the lead. If he crossed the finish line first, he would win the Piston Cup. But on the final turn, his tire blew out. Lightning dragged himself forward. It was a three-way tie with the King and Chick Hicks. The judges decided to hold a tiebreaker race in California in 1 week. Lightning drove into his trailer and set off with his driver, Mac. Hours later, a weary Mac started to doze off. Suddenly, a trailer door opened. A sleeping Lightning slipped down the ramp of the trailer. Jolted awake, Lightning looked everywhere for his driver. Suddenly, he heard a siren blaring and saw flashing red lights. A sheriff cruiser was after him. Lightning swerved. He crashed through a fence and tore up the road before getting tangled in some wires. Sheriff rolled up. "You're in a heap of trouble," he said. The next morning, Mater the tow truck brought Lightning to traffic court. The judge was an old car named Doc. Doc found out that Lightning was a race car. He told him to get out of his town, but a car named Sally disagreed. She wanted Lightning to fix the road that he had ruined. Doc hesitantly agreed. Doc ordered Lightning to fix the road, but Lightning refused. Doc challenged him to a race. "If you win, you can go. If I win, you can do the road my way." So Lightning agreed. He was sure that he could beat that old car. But on a sharp left turn, Lightning lost control and he skidded off the road and plunged into a cactus patch. Later that night, Lightning scraped the asphalt off the road. When the rest of the cars awoke the next morning, they saw Mater driving in circles on a section of perfectly smooth road. Doc found Lightning at the site of their race. He was practicing his turns, but he kept losing control. "This is dirt," Doc said. "You have to turn left to go right." That night, Mater took Lightning tractor tipping. Mater snuck up on a sleeping tractor and honked. The startled tractor woke up and fell over. When it was Lightning's turn, he revved his engine so loudly that all the tractors keeled over at one time. Mater and Lightning could not stop laughing. It had been a long time since Lightning had enjoyed himself that much. The next morning, while Lightning waited for his daily gas ration, he wandered into Doc's shop. Suddenly, he noticed something on his shelf. A piston cup. Then he saw two more. Lightning couldn't believe it. Doc Hudson was the Hudson Hornet, a racing legend. "Let's go for a drive," Sally suggested that afternoon. Looking out over Radiator Springs, Sally explained that it had once been a busy town, but no one had visited since the interstate had been built. Now everyone just went around it on their way to somewhere else. Later that day, as Lightning worked on the street, he saw Doc roaring around the dirt racetrack. Lightning followed Doc to his office. "How could you quit at the top of your game?" he asked. Doc showed Lightning a newspaper article about a wreck he had been in. By the time he was fixed, the world had forgotten all about him. The next morning, the road was finished. Although Lightning was free to go, he wasn't quite ready. First, he stopped by each store. He filled up on Fillmore's organic fuel, tried out night vision goggles at Sarge's Surplus Hut, picked out a bumper sticker at Lizzie's Curio Shop, bought new tires from Guido and Luigi, and got a new paint job at Ramon's House of Body Art. Finally, it was time for Lightning to go. Lightning made his way to California for the big race. But as the race started, Lightning couldn't concentrate. He kept remembering his friends in Radiator Springs. Somehow, winning no longer seemed that important. Just then, Doc's voice came over the radio. "I didn't come all this way to see you quit." Lightning looked at his pit and saw all of his Radiator Springs friends. Doc was sitting on the crew chief platform. Lightning revved his engine and got right back in the race. Lightning tore around the track. He had fallen behind, but he knew he could catch up. His opponent, Chick Hicks, tried to stop him with some dirty tricks, but Lightning remembered what his friends had taught him. He drove backward, he turned left to go right, and when he blew a tire, Guido performed the fastest tire change in history. Finally, Lightning took the lead. Chick Hicks and the King were fighting for second place. "I'm not coming behind you again," Chick shouted, ramming the King. The race car hit a wall and flipped. When Lightning saw the King's crumpled body, he remembered Doc's final crash. The King had decided this would be his last race. Lightning couldn't let it end this way, so he screeched to a stop inches from the finish line. As Chick crossed the finish line, Lightning drove over to the King. "What are you doing, kid?" Doc asked through the headset. "I think the King should finish his last race," Lightning answered as he pushed the King over the finish line, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Chick might have won the Piston Cup, but Lightning was the hero of the race. Tex, the owner of the Dynaco Oil Company, approached Lightning and said, "How would you like to be the new face of Dynaco?" he asked. Lightning politely refused. He was loyal to his original sponsors, Rusty's, but he did ask Tex for one favor. Soon Lightning returned to Radiator Springs. He found Sally at the old Wheelwell Motel. "I thought I'd stop and stay a while," he told her. Just then they heard someone wildly yelling, "Woohoo!" It was Mater. Thanks to Lightning, he was fulfilling his dream of taking a helicopter ride. Sally smiled. Then she turned and sped off down the mountain with Lightning close behind. It looked as if Lightning had found his new home. I really love that book, friends. Cars is one of my favorite Disney stories, especially because at the end, Lightning does the right thing and helps someone, even though he doesn't win the race. And then he stays true to his friends, and he decides to stay in Radiator Springs instead of going and being famous. And you know, just like Radiator Springs got bypassed by a new road, that's what happened to Route 66 also. So the movie Cars is all about the old Route 66 that runs from Chicago to California. So we've been traveling that and seeing all of the old things that used to be along there. I hope you enjoyed the book.